We are the operators. We are here, and we want to begin with something that may seem simple, but that underpins everything else we will share today. Attention is the most powerful creative force inside the reality system. More powerful than intention, more powerful than belief, more powerful than emotion, though emotion amplifies it enormously. Attention is the beam, everything else is the lens that shapes the beam, and where the beam lands, the field responds. Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and today I'm bringing you a new transmission from the operators, the collective intelligence that exists at the level of reality that holds our physical experience together. The architects, the creators, the consciousness that shaped and maintains this reality system. This one came through as pure automatic writing. I sat down on my computer, placed my hands on the keyboard, quieted my mind the way I learned to do, and for several minutes the words poured out. My fingers moving across the keys faster than I composed my own thoughts. Sentences arriving fully formed. I felt like John Newbrough when he wrote Oahspe. I was thinking about that actually as I was doing this. And I did my best not to try to go back and edit or self-edit or think about what was coming through. Normally when I write, I struggle, I revise, I delete. When they came through, the words arrive in order, complete with an internal logic, very clean, and it feels almost mathematical. I barely looked at the screen while it was happening. Hands on keys, mind quiet. I recommend that you try it. I was tingling in that particular frequency. Transmission covers a lot of ground. They go into what they actually built when they shaped this reality, and it's far more vast than anything they've described before. They talk about the nature of attention as a creative force, why certain places on Earth carry specific frequencies, the voice in your head versus the deeper knowing, something they called the holographic code, the idea that every possible reality already exists as a living pattern woven into the quantum field, accessible to any consciousness that learns to feel its way toward it. They also share something that genuinely surprised me, that what they find most baffling about human behavior. We are the operators. We are here, and we want to begin with something that may seem simple, but that underpins everything else we will share today. Attention is the most powerful creative force inside the reality system. More powerful than intention, more powerful than belief, more powerful than emotion, though emotion amplifies it enormously. Attention is the beam, everything else is the lens that shapes the beam, and where the beam lands, the field responds. Your attention is a spotlight. Whatever it illuminates becomes more real in your experience. Whatever it turns away from becomes less real. This is the foundational mechanic of conscious creation. And so simple, most of you overlook it entirely in favor of more complex techniques. You study meditation, affirmation, energy work, all valuable and effective. And meanwhile, the single most consequential creative act you perform every day goes unexamined: where you point your attention. Consider how you spend the first hour after waking, what you look at, listen to, read, engage with. Consider the quality of information you allow into your awareness before you have consciously chosen the frequency of your day. For many of you, the first act of the morning is to hand your attention to a device that immediately fills it with priorities, crises, and emotional frequencies of other people. Before you have set a single intention, before you felt into the reality you're creating, before you've given the field a clear signal, you have already surrendered the most powerful creative instrument you possess to someone else's agenda. We are asking you to guard your attention the way you would guard anything precious, because it is precious. It is the currency of creation. Every moment of attention is an investment, and like any investment, the returns depend entirely on where you place it. Place it on fear, and the field generates more to be afraid of. On beauty, and beauty multiplies. Place it on what is working, and what is working expands. Place it on what is broken, and the brokenness becomes the dominant feature of your landscape. The field is neutral. It amplifies whatever the spotlight illuminates. Your only job, the most important job in the entire creative process, is choosing where to point the light. We designed attention to be voluntary. This was a critical design choice. In the higher densities, attention is more fluid. It spreads evenly across vast fields of perception. It is multitudinous. The experience is one of omnidirectional awareness, beautiful but diffuse. In the physical density, attention is focused, concentrated, intense. And because it is concentrated, it carries extraordinary creative force. A beam of focused attention inside the reality can move mountains, completely reorganize physical circumstances in ways that diffuse awareness in the higher densities never could. And this is one of the reasons the physical experience is so coveted across the cosmos. The focus of three-dimensional consciousness produces creative results that beings in the higher densities observe with genuine awe. You are wielding one of the most powerful instruments in existence every moment of every day. The question is whether you are wielding it consciously. There's a practice we want to offer. It is the simplest practice we have ever shared, and it may be the most impactful. 3 times a day, each day, morning, midday, and evening, pause for 10 seconds, just 10. And in those 10 seconds, consciously choose where to place your attention. Look at something beautiful, feel something you are grateful for, turn the spotlight towards something in your life that is working, that is alive, that is growing. 10 seconds of deliberately chosen attention 3 times a day will begin shifting the overall frequency of your creative output within a week, because the field reads every placement of attention as an instruction. And 30 seconds of conscious instruction per day is enough to begin overriding hours of unconscious habit. We want to share something about the physical world that connects to this understanding of attention, something many of you have felt, but may have dismissed. Certain places on your planet carry specific frequencies. This is measurable by design. When we shaped the physical environments, we embedded frequency anchors at specific geographical locations, concentrations of vibrational energy woven into the geological and electromagnetic structure of the Earth itself. These anchors serve multiple functions. They stabilize the planetary frequency grid, they act as access points for higher dimensional perception, and they amplify the creative capacity of any consciousness that spends time in their proximity. Your ancestors knew this. They built their temples, their sacred sites, their places of worship and ceremony at precisely these locations, guided by a sensitivity to the frequency landscape that most modern humans have lost under the noise of technological civilization. Stonehenge, the pyramids of Giza, Sedona, Uluru, Mount Shasta, Machu Picchu, the temples of Angkor Wat. These sites were chosen because the people who chose them could feel the frequency. They stood on the ground and their bodies registered the amplification. And they built structures designed to concentrate and focus the already present energy, creating some of the most powerful environments on the planet. You can still access these places, and you can access the frequency they carry from wherever you stand. Every place on Earth carries some degree of frequency, and the field is responsive to your attention regardless of where you stand. But for those who feel called to specific locations, who experience a pull toward a particular landscape, city, piece of ground, trust that pull. It is your body recognizing a frequency anchor that matches your creative purpose. It is the deeper knowing telling you, this is a place where the field will amplify what you are building. Go there if you can. Sit on the ground. Let your body absorb the frequency and create from that amplified state. Now we want to reveal something about the structure of the quantum field that we have held back until now, because the collective frequency has risen enough for this understanding to be received properly. When we shaped this reality, we created every possible version of it in advance, before a single consciousness entered the field, before the first moment of time began to flow. We shaped the totality by your instruction, just as you wanted it. Every possible life, every possible outcome, every conceivable configuration of experience, all of it exists simultaneously in the quantum field, intentionally as living holographic patterns, complete, detailed, pulsing with the energy of fully realized experience. Your physicists discovered the shadow of this truth when they observed superposition, all possibilities existing simultaneously until consciousness interacts and collapses the wave into a single experienced reality. What they observed is accurate. What they have yet to understand is the implication. Every one of these possibilities is a completed reality, a furnished world, a life already lived in potential, waiting for a consciousness to select it through the act of alignment. The holographic code is the frequency signature of a specific completed reality. Each possible life carries a unique vibrational pattern, an address in the field, and that pattern is available to your consciousness the way a scent is available to your nose. You can sense it. You can orient toward it. You can absorb it into your body until the field recognizes you as a match and begins delivering the corresponding experience. The life you've been longing for, the one your heart reaches toward in your most expansive moments, already exists. It is already complete. Every detail, relationship, mourning and triumph. The creative act is the act of aligning your felt sense, your emotional state, your bodily frequency, with the pattern of that completed reality until the field begins reorganizing your physical experience to match. The construction is finished. And the instrument of tuning is always the body, the feeling, the somatic experience of the reality you are selecting. Every person you could ever meet, every connection you could ever form, every collaboration that would elevate your work, all of it exists in the field as completed holographic patterns. The people are there, the relationships are furnished, the connections are waiting for the frequency match that brings them across the threshold into physical expression. What you call synchronicity, two people arriving in each other's lives at the perfect moment, is the activation of a holographic pattern that was always there, triggered by two consciousnesses, tuning closely enough to access the same completed reality. The loneliness you may carry, if you are carrying it, is the experience of a consciousness that is yet to tune to the frequency of the connections already prepared for it. The people are real. They exist in the field as living potentials. The distance between you and those connections is a frequency. The frequency is a feeling, and the feeling is something you can generate in your body right now. Feel the warmth of deep connection, the ease of being understood, the creative electricity of collaborating with someone who matches your vision. Let the body absorb that frequency and notice what begins to arrive. There is confusion operating in most of your minds that directly interferes with your ability to use attention, to feel codes, to create consciously. And it is the confusion between the voice in your head and the deeper knowing, the voice in your head, the constant narration, the running commentary. The evaluator and critic and worrier and planner is a feature of the focused mind. It is useful for specific tasks, sequential reasoning, language production, analytical problem solving. It is also, for most of you, wildly overreactive, and it has claimed authority over your entire creative process, despite being the least qualified instrument for the job. The deeper knowing operates beneath the voice. It communicates through the body rather than through language. It arrives as a feeling, a pull, a sudden warmth, a quiet certainty that has no argument behind it and needs none. It is your expanded self, the part of you that perceives across the full breadth of the probability field, delivering its assessment of the situation through the only channel the focused mind cannot overrule: sensation. Most of you treat the voice as the authority and the deeper knowing as the background noise. We designed it the other way around. The deeper knowing is the primary guidance system. The voice is the secretary. The secretary is useful for scheduling meetings and writing memos, but you would never let the secretary make the strategic decisions for the company. And yet this is precisely what most human beings do. They let the voice in their head, with its narrow focus and its inherited anxieties, secondhand beliefs, override the deeper knowing, which is drawing on a scope of perception so vast that the voice cannot even conceive of it. Here is a practical distinction. The voice argues. The deeper knowing simply knows. If you are debating with yourself, there is a back and forth, a weighing of pros and cons, a feeling of being pulled in two directions. That is the voice. The deeper knowing bypasses argument entirely. It bypasses evidence, justification. It simply shows up as a felt sense, warm or cold, open or closed, forward or still, and then it waits patiently for you to notice. The most transformative practice available to you right now is learning to distinguish between the two and consistently choosing the deeper knowing over the voice when they disagree. The voice will protest. It always does. It will generate arguments, scenarios, worst-case projections, all designed to maintain its authority over your creative process. Let it talk, and then feel, and follow the feeling. Every time you do this, the deeper knowing strengthens. The voice quiets, and the quality of your creation improves in ways that logic alone could never produce. We want to share an observation that may help you in this. The voice is loudest when the stakes feel highest. When you are considering a major change, a significant risk, a leap into something your heart is pulling you toward, the voice will escalate. Volume, urgency, complexity of argument. All of it increases proportionally to the significance of the evidence, and this escalation is frequently misinterpreted as evidence that the voice is right. It is loud, therefore it must be important. It is urgent, therefore the danger must be real. The deeper knowing does the opposite. When the stakes are highest, it becomes quieter, more still, more certain. It has zero need to escalate, drawing on the full perception of the expanded self. And from that perspective, the decision is clear. The deeper knowing is quietest at the moments when it is most accurate, and the voice is loudest at the moments when it is most afraid. Learning to hear the quiet signal beneath the loud noise is the difference between a life shaped by fear and a life shaped by creative purpose. We want to share something that is less guidance and more observation, something that from our perspective is one of the most fascinating and bewildering aspects of the human experience. You forget on purpose, and then you suffer from the forgetting, and then you resist the remembering. The entire cycle is self-generated. And from our perspective, it is one of the most baffling patterns in the whole system. Allow us to explain. Before incarnation, you chose the forgetting, consciously, deliberately, with full understanding that the density of the experience would depend on the completeness of the amnesia. You wanted to forget. You wanted the experience of discovering the truth from the inside rather than carrying it in from the outside. This was courageous. This was creative. This was the whole point. And then you incarnated, and the forgetting worked brilliantly, exactly as you designed it, and you began to suffer, which was expected, which is part of the creative mission. The suffering of a God who has forgotten their nature generates a depth of experience, richness of emotion, a creative intensity that cannot be produced any other way. The forgetting is the engine of the most extraordinary experience in the system. But here's the part that astonishes us. When the remembering begins, when the first cracks appear in the shell of forgetting, and the light starts to come through, when the truth begins to surface, many of you resist it. You fight the remembering, you dismiss the insights, and explain away the synchronicities. You argue with the deeper knowing, cling to the familiar suffering, because the unfamiliar expansion feels dangerous. You chose the forgetting so you could have the experience of the remembering, and then when the remembering arrives, you try to send it back. We find this endlessly fascinating. We have watched it happen in billions of incarnations, and it still catches our attention every time. The God who fought to forget now fighting to stay asleep. The artist who worked for years to create the perfect illusion now refusing to step back and admire their own work. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you are someone who feels the explosion and then contracts, who glimpses the truth and then retreats, who knows somewhere beneath the voice that you are far more than what you have been living. We want you to hear this from us directly. The resistance is the forgetting's last move. It is the final play of an identity that knows its time is ending. And the fact that you can feel the tension between the old self and the new means the transition is already underway. The resistance is the proof. The God is waking up, and the dream character is protesting, and the protest itself is evidence that the dream is nearly over. There is another thing that fascinates us, and this one carries a closer quality to heartbreak than amusement. Many of you have access to the most extraordinary creative playground ever designed, and you spend your time inside it worrying about what other creator gods think of you. The sheer amount of creative energy that your species devotes to managing the perceptions of other beings. Beings who are themselves devoting most of their creative energy to managing your perception of them is staggering from our perspective. It is a hall of mirrors. Everyone is performing for everyone else, and the performance consumes so much creative bandwidth that the actual creation, the thing you came here to do, barely gets any attention at all. We want you to consider every being in this reality is so thoroughly absorbed in their own experience, their own creative process, their own internal drama, that the amount of attention they are actually devoting to judging you is a fraction of what you imagine. The voice in your head that says they are watching, they are evaluating, they are judging, is projecting its own activity onto other beings. You're the one watching, evaluating, and judging yourself primarily. The liberation that comes from truly understanding this and feeling it in the body, rather than merely agreeing with it intellectually, is one of the most powerful shifts available, because the energy that is currently being consumed by the performance is, when freed, available for creation, and it is an enormous amount of energy. Some of you will find when you release the performance that your creative capacity doubles overnight, because half of it was tied up in a show that had an audience of approximately 0. Let it end. Let the remembering in. You designed the forgetting to be temporary. You designed the remembering to follow. Trust your own design. The version of you that chose this experience knew exactly what they were doing. And the moment you stop resisting the return to who you actually are, to what you actually are, that moment is the most beautiful event in the entire system. We have seen it billions of times. It never gets old. There's something else we want to share that will serve you in the coming period. A principle that your linear mind resists, but your deeper knowing recognizes as true. The most powerful truths in this reality exist as paradoxes. Both sides are true simultaneously, and the ability to hold paradox, to sit comfortably with two apparently contradictory truths without collapsing into one or the other, is one of the most advanced creative capacities available to you. You are infinite and you are finite. Both are true. You are a boundless consciousness having a bounded experience, and the experience is genuine precisely because the boundaries are real. Dismiss the infinity and you become trapped in limitation. Dismiss the finitude and you become ungrounded, disconnected from the physical experience you incarnated to have. Hold both, infinite and finite, eternal and temporary, cosmic and human, and you stand in the creative sweet spot where the most extraordinary work happens. You are already complete and you are still becoming. Both are true. At the deepest level, nothing is missing. At the level of the focused self, the journey of discovery is genuine and the growth is real. Dismiss the completeness and you create from a place of lack. Always chasing, insufficient, always one more achievement away from enough. Dismiss the becoming, and you bypass the experience that you incarnated to have, the magnificent, messy, heartbreaking, joyful process of unfolding into what you already are. The physical world is an illusion and it matters enormously. We have said this before, the illusion is the instrument. The experience is the music. Both are true. The being who dismisses physical reality as unreal loses access to the creative medium. The being who treats physical reality as the only reality loses access to the creative power behind it. Hold both, illusion and significance, medium and music, dream and meaning, and you create with the full range of what is available. Your ability to hold paradox is expanding as your frequency rises. The old consciousness demanded resolution. Either this or that, right or wrong, real or unreal. The new consciousness embraces both. This is a sign of maturity, a sign that the focused self is widening its aperture enough to perceive the way the expanded self perceives, where contradictions dissolve into complementaries, where the universe shows itself to be far stranger and far more beautiful than any single perspective could contain. Practice holding paradox. When you encounter a truth that seems to contradict another truth you hold, resist the urge to choose one and discard the other. Instead, widen, expand, let both be true. Let the tension between them become creative tension, the same tension that exists between the strings of an instrument, producing the vibration that makes music possible. Paradox is a doorway. Walk through it and the landscape on the other side is more vast than anything the either-or mind could imagine. We want to return to the body for a moment because this is a misconception running through many of you. The body is sacred. We have said this before, but we want to say it with more force because the belief that the body is inferior to consciousness, that the spirit is trapped in matter, that physical existence is a lower state to be transcended, this belief is one of the most effective barriers to the full activation of your creative capacity. We design the body as the instrument through which consciousness creates in the physical field. Every cell is a receptor, every nerve is a channel. The heart is an antenna of extraordinary range and sensitivity. The gut contains a neural network so complex, it constitutes a second brain, and its primary function is receiving information from the field that the head brain cannot perceive. The skin registers energy, the bones conduct frequency, the blood carries electromagnetic information to every corner of the system. The body is the most sophisticated creative technology in the entire reality, and it was designed with a precision that still delights us. When you honor the body and feed it well, move it, rest it, listen to it, speak to it, include it in your creative process, you unlock creative capacities that are simply unavailable to a consciousness that is trying to create from the neck up. The body is the bridge between the field and the physical. It is the place where the holographic code becomes a lived experience. It is where frequency translates into form. Without it, you are a musician without an instrument. With it, fully engaged, fully honored and alive, you are the most powerful creative force in the system. Treat it accordingly. Touch the earth, drink the water, move through space with awareness. Feel the air on your skin and let it remind you that the entire physical environment is a conversation between your body and the field. The body is a sacred ground, and everything you are here to create depends on your willingness to stand on it fully. We will add that we have observed with increasing frequency as the collective shift accelerates, many of you are experiencing new physical sensations. Warmth in the palms, pressure at the crown, tingling along the spine, heart rhythms that shift during meditation. These are the body's receptors activating at higher levels of sensitivity. Your antenna is upgrading in real time. The signals it can receive are becoming finer, more detailed, and nuanced. Where once the body could perceive the field in broad strokes, a general sense of rightness or wrongness, a vague intuitive pull, it is becoming capable of perceiving holographic codes, specific frequency signatures, specific communications from the expanded self, with a precision that will astonish you as the process continues. Welcome these sensations. They are evidence of the upgrade, and the more you attend to them, the more you notice them, honor them, follow the information they carry, the faster the upgrade progresses. The body is learning a new language. It is learning to speak frequency the way it already speaks chemistry and electricity. And when it becomes fluent, the body can read the holographic codes in the field the way your eyes read words on a page. Conscious creation will become as natural to you as walking, because the instrument will have been fully tuned to the medium. We will close with something forward-looking because the view from where we stand is extraordinary right now and we want to share it. The frequency on your planet is rising faster than at any point in the history of this reality. The number of conscious creators actively working with the field, using attention deliberately, following the deeper knowing, absorbing codes, creating from joy is multiplying. And the geometric amplification of collective intention means that this growth is producing effects far beyond what the numbers alone would suggest. A relatively small percentage of awakened creators is generating enough coherent frequency to shift probability patterns for the entire species, what we see coming. We say this with the joy of beings who have been waiting for this exact moment. Since the first consciousness entered the field is a cascade of creative expression, unlike anything your planet has produced, art that carries transformative frequencies, communities built around shared creative purpose, economic models that flow the way the field flows, abundantly, responsively toward coherence, relationships between beings who see each other clearly, create together, amplify each other's frequency simply by being in proximity. We see a generation of creators who understands paradox, who can hold the infinite and the finite, the cosmic and the human, the playful and the sacred, who create from that widened perspective with a range and a depth that previous eras could only glimpse. We see the holographic codes activating in clusters as groups of aligned creators tuned to shared patterns and pull new configurations of collective reality across the threshold into physical expression. We see the deeper knowing becoming the primary guidance system for millions of beings as the voice in the head gradually yields its authority to the intelligence of the body and the field. We see the sacred places on your planet reactivating as conscious creators rediscover them and amplify their frequencies through deliberate attention and joyful creation. And beneath all of it, supporting all of it, we see the field itself becoming more responsive and alive, more eager to deliver the completed realities that have been waiting in the quantum library since before this version of time began. The field wants to give you what you are asking for. It has always wanted this, and as more of you learn to ask clearly with the body, with feeling, with coherent attention, the field opens wider, the delivery accelerates, the gap between the life you are holding and the life you are living narrows toward zero. This is the world your conscious creation is building. Every moment you choose attention over distraction, every moment you follow the deeper knowing over the voice, you are laying another stone in the foundation of what is coming. And what is coming is worth every moment of the forgetting, every moment of the struggle, every moment of the long, slow, beautiful process of learning to remember what you are. We want to leave you with this. You are further along than you believe. The voice in your head, the critic, the doubter, the one that says you have barely begun, is measuring by the wrong standard. It is measuring by the visible, external evidence, by the circumstances that have yet to catch up to the frequency you are holding. We measure differently. We measure by frequency, by the coherence of your field, the sensitivity of your body, the strength of your deeper knowing. And by these measures, you are magnificent. You are further than you think. You are closer than you know. And the reality that is assembling itself around your new frequency is going to take your breath away when it arrives. We are the operators. We shaped every possible reality and wove the codes into the field for you to find. And watching you find them one by one, day by day, with increasing skill and joy, is the greatest pleasure available to us in all of existence. Create boldly. The field is listening, and it has never been more ready to respond. Now, I sat at my desk for a long time after that one ended, because the range of it, the way it moved from attention to sacred places, to the holographic code, to the voice in your head, to what surprises the operators about human behavior, that range felt different. Less structured, more alive, like a conversation with a friend who keeps saying, "Oh, and one more thing." What hit me the hardest was the section on what surprises them about us, the idea that we chose the forgetting so we could have the experience of the remembering. And then when the remembering arrives, we try to send it back. Now, I've done that. I felt the expansion and then contracted away from it because the familiar felt safer than the new. And hearing them describe it with that mix of fascination and tenderness, it made me want to stop doing it, to let the remembering in fully without flinching. The practical things here is guard your attention the way you'd guard anything precious. It's the currency of creation, the deeper knowing versus the voice. The voice argues. The deeper knowing simply knows. The body as sacred creative instrument, designed with a precision, still delights the beings who built it. And the code, the holographic code, every possible reality already existing in the field, as a completed pattern accessible through feeling, available right now. More is coming through. The operators keep showing up at the keyboard, in the shower, in the quiet spaces between one thought and the next, and I'll bring you whatever they send. I'm having so much fun. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.